Hey, what's going on, everybody? TVJ here, down in the bowels of this basement, and trust me when I tell you, this is a beautiful beachside house on the water in Milford, Connecticut, overlooking Long Island Sound. You know, at some point here we'll take you up and I'll show you upstairs when they start finishing the construction up there. But I wanted to show you something down in the dungeon down here, because when I came into this house, I realized that for the time when this was done, probably 30 years ago, the homeowner and the contractor spared no expense putting in at what was at the time a killer system. Probably cost them several $1,000s, and we're here, and unfortunately we're going to be stripping it out and trashing it. But before I did that, I just wanted to show you as a blast from the past, because some of you may have had stuff like this in your house. So check this out. Come here. This was the cat's meow in terms of telephone distribution, paging, intercom, stereo sound. This was the Panasonic hybrid system. This was an analog. I don't think this even came close to the digital versions that follow it up a few years later, but you could take up to 12 system phones and put them throughout the house. Wire them back down to this baby, and of course, you know, typical spaghetti, like linguine, spaghetti, thin spaghetti, you name it, it's in here. This stuff certainly is done now. It's antiquated with wireless technology, but for its time, it was the bomb. You had intercom stations at the front door, back door, garage, wherever you had entry. Those were connected to the system. So from any of the telephones, you could access the intercom, you could page room to room, you could call on multiple lines. I think these did up to 4 lines. And you know what? You couldn't beat it. I mean, it was several grand, but it was an awesome system. As a matter of fact, you would see this in a dentist office or an office application, not really in a residence. So these guys went way over the top for this house. Feeding that music on hold was this realistic AM/FM tuner. Anybody that's been to Radio Shack remembers Realistic. So when you were on hold, you were actually listening to whatever channel this was turned to here. And look, still in stereo, coming out from this FM antenna right here. That's amazing. Now everything is disconnected upstairs. All the phones are gone, the jacks are gone. There was a NuTone system up there. Speaking of flashbacks, how about NuTone? Took all that out. It was all original. It was all somewhere in the 1970s. I couldn't find a date anywhere on it, but I know from those models, you're talking, you know, 35, 40-year-old stuff. Kind of like me, 35, 40-year-old stuff. Anyway, this stuff here, it's just going to go. We're going to replace it with a normal phone system and a Rust Sound multi-room audio system. So we'll have keypads in the different rooms up there, all of them connected to really, really good speakers. And we'll have about 40 watts per channel to work with up there. So if they want to crank it, they'll be able to crank it. And then we'll have some speakers out over the beach coming off the back of the house. It's really going to be sweet. And we'll take you through that later, but I kind of wanted to show you this before it gets ripped out, because, man, I tell you, this was a Cadillac in its day, and we just don't see anything like this very often anymore. All right, till next time.